Smash the like button and subscribe right now. Not safe for work. Serious, what's the creepiest thing you've seen at a sleepover? First time staying at a friend's house when I was about 10 or so. I moved around a lot as a kid, so we were new friends and I didn't know her that well. Her stepdad came in to say goodnight and gave her a big long hug. She went really quiet and then told me she was glad I was staying over. A few weeks later, she didn't come to school on Monday. Tuesday night on the news, they reported a man had been arrested for molestation and rape of a minor and named the fairly short street she lived on. She didn't come back to school. We moved again a few months later and I never saw her again. I still remember the look on her face after he hugged her. As a child, I didn't understand, but as an adult looking back, it makes me stabby. In 6th grade I camped at my friend's house with him and one other friend. They lived in the country so they had plenty of acreage although we were only 200 feet or so from his house. At about 2 AM we heard people shouting go. Get them. Now, naturally we freaked out and left the tent running. Come to find out their neighbor's house was getting raided for drugs. When I was in 6th grade a girl had a slumber party for her birthday. There was maybe 5 or 6 of us girls at her house. Their house was kind of run down and the parents didn't give a rat's ass what we did and they constantly swore. Just was an interesting environment. She had 2 younger brothers, 3rd grade maybe, who also had some friends who were girls, same age, over for the night. I walked downstairs and they had one of the boys' peanuts out and the girls were playing with it. I was so shocked because of course I am only in 6th grade and haven't been exposed to stuff like this before. I went and told the birthday girl who just laughed it off. Super weird. Friend with a sleep disorder went to the kitchen to cook in the middle of the night. He was sleepwalking, talking. It's fascinating and creepy to witness. Also all his knives need to be locked in a drawer every night for that same reason. Spent the night for the first time at a friend's house with another friends. Both were great guys, but later in the night, after we smoked weed, we went out in his den to watch TV. I'm on the armchair, both of them on the love seat. They toss me a blanket and grab one themselves. He turns on peen and they both proceed to beat their meat under the same blanket. And, since it was my first time getting high I just stared, flabbergasted at what was happening. So I told them I had to go do it in the bathroom for privacy, but I just sat on the toilet for like an hour and went back outside when I heard the TV change to something else. Not really creepy, but their just complete and total assumption I would partake with them felt really strange to me. When I was about 11 or 12, I got invited over with maybe 5 other girls for a sleepover. Everything was normal until the middle of the night. We're all sitting in her bedroom with the door closed when somebody starts freaking pounding on the door. I mean I thought it was going to break off its hinges. We're dead quiet for a minute, and then some dude starts screaming let me in. I want to see your pajamas. Friend says she knows who it is, opens the door and tells him to frick off. Turns out it was her, single, mom's friend, frick buddy. He had come over at some point, they got drunk. And he decided it would be fun to scare the shit out of us since we didn't know he was there. The pajamas comment was still creepy though. A mattress in a closet that smelled like pee. These people were military, tidy as hell, with 6 kids, and this was a hall closet between the kids' rooms. I opened it looking for a blanket that wasn't that rough sandpaper blanket with the satin trim. You all know the one. And there was this single kid's mattress on the floor, smelling like super old, musty pee with no sheets or blankets or pillows. I shut the door and said nothing about it. I was 7. My friend invited me and 3 other friends to spend the night at her house since her parents were gone. The room we slept in had a bunk bed and a normal bed since it was supposed to be divided later for her siblings. We also got a mattress for the floor since there were 4 of us. I'm a light sleeper and in the middle of the night I'm awakened by this freaking creepy laughing coming from the room. It sounded too freaking real. It wouldn't stop. I get up from the bed and realize that the person laughing is the one sleeping on the mattress. I was so freaking creeped out and at first I thought she's joking. Then I go to her, start shaking her arm and say what the frick is wrong with you? Then she stops and goes back to her peaceful sleeping. I go back to my bed and after 10 minutes I hear her say friend's name's smell makes my veins pop, followed by another creepy laugh. At this point, I've freaking had it. I went up to her again, this time fully waking her up and tell her that she's being really freaking creepy and that I don't know what she dreaming about, but it's freaking scary. To this she replies I wasn't even sleeping. I couldn't fall asleep because of that loud noise and snoring. Now, I know she's joking, because there was no noise or snoring in the room except for her giggles. So I'm like okay. I go back to bed hoping she'll stop. Eventually I fell asleep and the next morning I ask her what the hell was that about. Apparently she has a habit of talking in her sleep. I mean, this isn't ghost creepy, just really what were you thinking? The story of Cheese Dong. We were all around 17, at my dude's b-day party. Everybody is drinking and smoking, having a good time, when we noticed this kid Brandon went missing. We thought maybe he had passed out somewhere. Checked the whole house and yard, nothing. A few of us grab flashlights and go into the woods, and after a few minutes, we find him, pantsless against a tree, jacking off and using a can of easy cheese for lube. I still don't know if it was just a weird drunk impulse he had, or if this was a normal thing for him, but he was known as Cheese Dong for years. During the slumber party for my 10th birthday, my mother staggered into my room in the middle of the night, wasted out of her mind, and took a dump on my bed in front of all of my friends. My friend's parents freaking on the couch. I didn't see it, but apparently when I was asleep one of my now ex-friends dry humped my head. I was ill and basically passed out from exhaustion. She was obsessed with me and it wasn't okay. I was staying over at a friend's house with others around junior year of high school. We were upstairs in his room, just eating pizza and playing games, when the friend hosting us starts staring out the window. He mutes the TV and gets the room quiet and we hear someone wailing. It didn't sound like anyone in pain or fear, just someone screaming to screaming. Keep in mind this at 1 in the morning and on a dead-end street with only one functioning street light post. We're all looking out the window at this point and hear the wailing getting closer to the entrance of the street. With the minuscule amount of light there is, we all saw silhouette a super tall guy sprinting like a deer across the sidewalk. The wailing faded the farther the guy ran away. We ended up staying up until 6 AM. Because we were too spooked to sleep. I had my girlfriend over to my place for a night a few years back. She decided to go to the bathroom at 2 in the morning, which woke me up slightly. Now I do not know why, but for whatever reason she decided to furiously knock on the bedroom door yelling for me to open it back up, so I rush up and turn the lights on. Turns out she was sleepwalking, but I have never been more afraid of where I lived ever. One of the other party goers took out his massive dong and started slapping the couch with it. I, a 12-year-old at the time, had never seen anything like it before or since. I can still hear the sound to this day. I was at a sleepover with around 8 girls my age when I was around 10. At this point it's already morning and only one of us isn't awake yet. She starts sleepwalking, arms out in front of her, slowly ambling around like a stereotypical zombie, calling out the name of the girl who was hosting us, but slowly and slightly slurred. If you've played the RPG Mad Father, imagine the AAYYYYYYYYA chase scene. That, but quieter. Everybody except for me was really freaked out. I was having the time of my life watching. They would try to get away from her, but she would follow us around the room. She would stop following you if you got separated and weren't the specific girl she was calling out for. At one point she went over to the armchair, curled up on it for a while, then got back up, took one of the pillows on it and sleepwalked over to the couch where we were huddling up. Everybody scatters. She sits down for a bit, gets back up, grabs the wrong pillow and goes back over to the armchair, puts the pillow down, then suddenly stops, picks the pillow back up, goes and exchanges it with the correct pillow, and brings it back to the armchair. Absolutely fascinating. Went on for like circa 2 hours. When she eventually woke up we asked what the frick she had dreamt. Turns out she dreamt the girl was kidnapped and she was trying to save her this entire time. That's why she kept calling out for her and following people around. It was so cool. A frog made into a change coin purse. Woke up to two of my friends fooling around on the bed. Went to spend the night at my cousin's place. His younger sister had 3 friends over, too. So there was me, him, and 4 girls, all around 14-15. At about 1 in the morning we all sneak out to go sit in the RV they had parked in the backyard. Of course a truth or dare game starts up. Long story short, one of the girls wound up standing in the back lane bare naked at 2:30 am. Fricking herself with the neck of an empty wine bottle and singing "If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands" at the top of her lungs. The kicker is, it was dead by one of the girls. I don't know if this is creepy or not, but when I was in 5th grade, I went to a slumber party that my sister's friend had. So I was like the one boy in a gaggle of 4th grade girls. Oh, the host girl's 4-year-old brother was there. Anyway, the night's going on. I'm like on a couch by myself reading or trying to go to sleep. This is 30 years ago. The girls were giggling and teasing each other and they like dared one girl to come over to me and kiss me. I freaked out and spat in her face. They all went "Oh," and I think she cried, and I've been regretting that, playfully, ever since. Sleeping over. Dude, here's his dad coming and makes me hide in the closest and tells me not to make a sound. Whatever transpired outside that closet sounded normal enough. Then the dad left. I've told this before, and I really don't know if the kid was abused or in what way, but I swear to God whatever that dad did other times was something really bad, and just that little situation still bothers me when I think about it. When I was 7 I went to a sleepover at a friend's house who had a little brother. We all played together and had a lot of fun until bedtime, when his parents proceeded to get her little brother into bed and then locked his door from the outside. The mum just looked at my confused face and said as casual as pie, "Oh, don't worry. He sometimes sleepwalks around the house and we don't want him turning the stove on again." I never slept over at that friend's house again.